Exciting time for us and all 30 teams. First day of this new NBA season, so we're excited, very, very excited about it. Obviously, a lot of continuity with our roster, but really, really good people, and we were excited about our team last year. I think there's some bitter taste in the mouth of all of our players after the way that we ended last year, just with the injuries and didn't get to show what we truly were capable of. So I think there's some chips on the shoulders of a lot of our players coming back, and they've really worked hard. They've been in the gym. Obviously, we've had a lot of continuity. Our only additions are Jordan Hawkins through the draft, and then Cody Zeller, who we're excited about adding that veteran element in the front court from the time that he spent all over with Charlotte a lot, but obviously ending the year last year with Miami, I think was huge for him, and it's going to be a big experience with him coming in and being one of the leaders of our group this season. So, but going back, obviously the experience in the summer league with Dyson, with Jordan, EJ getting some run, I think was good for those three guys. When we thought it was successful, 5 games in Las Vegas for us to see those guys, and those guys get a little bit more run in that competitive environment. And then, after that, we had a lot of our younger players in the gym in August with some of our coaches and, doing some small stuff, getting some shots up, getting some work in. But those guys have really put some time in. And then after Labor Day, that gym's been popping, especially the last 2-3 weeks with the majority of our players being in, playing some pickup on their own and really pushing the gym on their own. So those guys are really excited about being back, about kind of taking a step forward. Some of the players that are in minor roles are going to try to step up and be bigger pieces on our team going forward. And again, we have a couple guys that are going to be out of camp at the start. Trey, obviously, everybody saw the release with his having knee surgery a few weeks ago. Jose and Larry won't start camp on the first day, but hopefully we'll have them for the opening game of the season against Memphis. That's the hope. Obviously, you never know what happens, but they should be on track to be back before that first game. So excited about some additions on our coaching staff with Coach James Borrego, Coach Aaron Miles. I'm sure later when Willie's up here, he'll allude to them. But he has relationships with them from before. Obviously, James was a coach here when Willie played, and then he and Aaron were together on the staff in Golden State. So 2 guys that we're excited about when everybody gets together here in the next few days, seeing the different defensive sides and what we're going to implement with the new group. One further addition is Amy Atmore, who's our Director of Rehabilitation and Recovery for our performance team. But other than that, a lot of continuity, a lot of good people who are super excited about being back and starting this season. So that's all I got. So if you guys have some questions for me, I'll open it up.
You mentioned continuity a few times. Considering how much change you see around the league from year to year, how much of an advantage do you think that could be for you guys having the same guy for a couple years in a row?
Yeah, I think having the majority of the coaching staff that's back, and obviously, like you said, Will, our players and especially our core group that's back, is you can hit the ground running quicker, not only from being able to implement different schemes on offensively and defensively, but also the players know each other. They know where they like the ball on the court. They know how communication. A lot of times it's not words. A lot of times it's body language and doing things with your eyes or head nods and stuff like that, and you just pick up things faster. So hopefully, we'll be ahead of the pack when we start up on opening night.
CJ, Zion, Brandon, 10 games under their belt collectively. How much do you guys feel like, as a front office, you just know exactly what you have in that trio and how they interact, based on that sample size?
I don't think we do, honestly. That sample size is not a big one, like everybody knows. So I think that's, for us, an exciting piece is hopefully we get those guys back and playing a lot more, going 42-40 last year. With a team that was, depleted health-wise, I thought was at the end of the day was pretty good. It left a bitter taste in the mouth at the end of the day, but our coaches were really battling with a lot of injuries, and to get to the point where they were, we thought was not the success that we wanted, but was impressive with the way, with the amount of games that we missed, especially from our core guys.
Trey, what do you think of Zion this offseason?
Well, he's been working. He's been in the gym. He's been in our facility more often than he had in the past. He's been working to get healthy, to get in shape, and I think he's in a really good place mentally right now. I think he wants to be more vocal on this team. I think it was really difficult for him in the second half of the season just watching. I think it was very frustrating for him. So he's really worked this summer, and I think wants to come back and be vocal and be a little bit more of a leader than he has been in the past.
Rest is like a big conversation in the NBA today. What's your personal, philosophy on balancing, giving a guy a game here and there to get through the 82 versus, you just have to play enough to make plays?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's something that we're going to discuss a lot internally as the year goes along with the medical team, performance team, and also with the coaches. Just trying to understand where our guys are at, because the most important thing is getting our players to the finish line. So at the end of the season, March, April, and hopefully in May, we're all healthy and playing our best basketball. But it's just trying to get our guys durable, getting them in the best shapes possible, so either they don't get injured or when they do get injured, they can come back quicker. So that's our mindset, and that's how we'll go forward with our players.
Trajan, what are your expectations this season? I think last year you told us you saw this team could be potentially in the top 4 in the West. Are they kind of the same, or have you had to alter your thinking at all for the last year?
Well, the West is a monster, right? It is a very, very tough conference, and our guys know that, and our guys are motivated. They want that challenge of seeing where we're at. They felt it last year in December when we were 1-2 in the league for a little bit, and I think they want to get back there and show the Western Conference what they're about. I think our goal is to get to the postseason and see what happens, right? Miami Heat got to the postseason at 8 and they made a run, so they were healthy when they did, aside from Hero. But for us, let's see if we can be better at the end of the season than we are at the start, and let's be healthy have as much health as we can to show the league that what we're about and give ourselves the best chance to win every night.
Trajan, they've beefed up the analytics side, the player performance side has kind of been revamped. How much input did y'all get from the players? What's the communication been like on those changes?
From our postseason meetings, we had a lot of discussion with every player and listened to them, and did make some changes based on some of the insight that we gave that was pretty regular with every player. Some of it was on the performance side, but I think they're very complimentary as well with what we have with our coaching staff, with the front office, with the way they and their families are treated. So there was some stuff that we needed to change, but there was also a lot of positivity that we took away as well.
What do you think Amy can add to the staff, and what kind of went into the decision to make some changes on the side?
Well, we didn't have a PT before, and I think that was one thing that a lot of the players questioned at the end of the year, especially with the amount of injuries that we had, was should we have somebody in part of staff that could really manage that, oversee that, and direct it. And so we took that into consideration in bringing somebody onto the staff. And so that's going to be her responsibility. Unfortunately, she has a lot on her plate right now with the 3 guys, but it has given her an opportunity to kind of really be in that place, put systems and processes in order, and we're excited about having her with us.
With Zion and Brandon specifically, I think we all understand, there's just going to be bad luck, injuries occur, and sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
How much of it is that part of it, where this is just bad luck versus things these guys can control to play more?
I think it's a combination of the two. Look, the 2 guys, they worked hard last year, right? I think both were in great shape when they came into camp. Both played well. Z had a hamstring, and then B had a toe, and kind of 2 freak things, but they do happen, and that's going to be our responsibility to try to get them back as quickly as possible. But we have to do our thing, but they have to do theirs as well, and I think they're bought in to do those things. They've had big time summers in terms of working with that, and they've had their own people that they've worked with. So I do think they're dedicated to try to be durable and be on the court as much as possible. That's not one thing that we've ever doubted.
Having Zion and the team working at the previous years, how much of an advantage would that give y'all to help prepare him and keep him maintained throughout the season?
I think Z is coming in with an edge. I think whenever you haven't played for a while, the league kind of forgets about you and can forget about the impact that you can have on a game and the success of your team. So I think that's what happens. And you have teams that go on runs, and you have finals appearances, and then you have got people that win championships, and that's where the focus goes. and it doesn't go towards teams that aren't in the playoffs. And so I think that's why our team is coming with an edge this year, because we aren't being talked about, which I think is good. I think we think is good. I think Z feels the same way. So he's going to come in with an edge to compete and try to really lift this team to be one of the top teams in the Western Conference.
You said he's in a good place defensively, but I'm sure he's heard about the outside noise with all the court drama and also
Sure.
the number of games he has not played in the first few years of the league.
Yeah.
How has he been approaching that so far?
That's a good question. I'll let him answer that when he gets here. But for him was trying to come in good shape and trying to come in healthy. And I think for him is he doesn't like the fact that he hasn't played in the games. There's no part of him that likes sitting over there and watching the games. And so I think he's tried to put himself, and we've tried to help him be in a place where he can enter the season healthy, and we can do things day to day to try to keep him more durable, keep him on the floor. And again, like we talked about earlier, it'll be a constant discussion game to game, week to week, on what we feel is best to get him to the finish line and have him healthy the last couple months of the season and more importantly throughout the entire season.
You guys are entering the season over the tax line. I think it's the first time the franchise has entered the season like that. What's the plan regarding that? Is that something you guys have clearance to stay in as the season goes on? Is there going to be an inflection point in the season that kind of determines your status on that?
Yeah, I think right now we're going to go in with the roster that we have trying to win games. And if we can take it up to obviously the trade deadline to figure out what we want to do and see where we're at as a team. And I think for us, it's always just trying to make moves to get better. And might it come to that, what you said, inflection point? Sure, but we're not worried about that right now. We're just worried about being the best possible team we can be here at the start of the season and getting better as we begin.
So the expectation right now is to on season opening to have 14 on the full-time roster.
That is the expectation, yes.
Could you look at the back end of the roster? Three guys out. You got EJ. You said you drafted him 2 years ago. If you'd have done in the draft.
Yes.
And he did finally come out.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him, and what are you expecting from the bottom half of the roster, so to speak, with this opportunity for three guys out there, maybe win some time?
That's a good question. I think anytime you come off of a surgery like that where you're out for a season, especially when you haven't played in the NBA before, it's going to take some time to get up to speed. And I think that's what we saw in the Summer League. The biggest thing for us was to get him out there and have him play and feel that competition again and get that confidence. And I think from then until now, we've seen EJ grow and grow every day in the gym. He's in great shape, probably the best shape he's been in a while. I don't know. I don't want to speak for him, but it's the best shape that I've seen him in, even since scouting him at Ohio State. So I think his confidence is high, and I think guys, like I said, the last couple weeks the gym's been popping. So guys will have that opportunity to come in and compete. I think Coach Green has always been the kind of, if you come and compete and you play defense and you help this team, he's going to give you an opportunity. So guys know that, and they're going to come in ready. They're going to come in fighting for those spots that might be available. But I think, a couple of those guys I think will be ready for the regular season. How much lead-up time do they get to be ready and be in rhythm? We'll see, but it does create that opportunity for those guys that might think they're not in the rotation right now.
How are you guys looking to measure success this season? Is there a discrete outcome goal that you're looking for? Is there a more process-oriented goal? At the end of the season, when you look back, how are you going to evaluate yourself in terms of if you had a successful season or not?
I think at the end of the day, you got to win games, right? In this league, it's so competitive. The Western Conference is deep. It's tough. It's we're going to probably be putting in new systems. So how quickly can we implement those and get them going where our guys feel comfortable playing together on both sides of the floor? But again, it's competing night in and night out and having a constant level of expectations of ourselves. And then we got to get in I think for all of us, it's getting the playoffs. I think if you ask every player, I think we expect to get in the playoffs. But to do that, we need everybody to help on any given night. Nobody plays 82. Very rarely do you play 82 games, so we're going to need everybody. But I think our guys are ready to show and take the next step.
Considering how much injuries have impacted the last two seasons, how much urgency are y'all feeling internally just to kind of figure out what this team looks like and how good can you be with the squad together?
I don't think urgency is the word, but curious. I think is probably a better word. And we do need to see these guys play together because we do think they can be really good. But again, a lot of times you don't know the fit until you see it for a sustained period of time. And we just, as Christian said earlier, we just haven't seen a lot of it. So you got to see a lot of it, and then you have to see it in pressure situations, right? You got to see it in March. You got to see it in April. You got to see it in the first round of the playoffs to determine it's just a group, to understand at what level can this group compete at. And so that's what we're excited about seeing, and we're curious about seeing as well. But we do like the players that we have and the human beings that we have as well.
Just had wanted to circle back on the load management stuff briefly. I think you can say if you agree with this, but I think there's been a perception that the players might have had most of the say in how they wanted to be load managed and when they wanted to play and so forth. And first of all, was it kind of like that, you think, in some circumstances? And second, does the new rules help in giving just a little more clarity for both sides to be able to work together towards that goal?
I think player to player is different. I think organization to organization is different as well. And being a former player, I think you should have some say into whether you play or not. If you don't feel right, if something's hurting, if you're in pain, and it's going to cause you more pain going forward, if you can miss one game as opposed to missing 5 to 10 games in the future, then that's probably the smart move. I think there is a part of the organization and the players working together to understand what is the best method of handling that on any given night, on any given day. And so that is our stance, is we're going to listen to our players and understand what's going on with them and try to put them in the best possible position to either compete on that night or get them ready for the next night. But I think that has to be an ongoing conversation, and us being aware of the players' bodies and respecting that as well.
Did you know Matt and Brandon Ingram missed a few games in FIBA action? Have y'all had conversation with him on what that experience was like? Maybe what kept him out of those games and how he's going to use that experience coming into the season?
Yeah, he just got sick. He had a really bad virus over there that hit a couple of his teammates. I think 3 or 4 guys got sick in those last couple games, so it hit him really bad where he couldn't even leave the room. So that was frustrating for him, and I think frustrating for a lot of people because I think he could have helped the team in those last couple games. But I think the experience was good. Obviously disappointing for the entire team that they weren't able to go over there and medal, but it's a different game. It's a different competition. You can feel good about your team for 3 or 4 games, and then one game happens, and everything changes. And I think that's what that kind of international competition at that level is. Again, I think it was a good experience, but I think he was disappointed, and we were, that he didn't get to play in those 2 really high-level games, for the real medal games in the semifinals and then the third-place game. So. But he's excited. I think he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder into this season. He's been working to really get ready for the season since that World Cup finished.